Yeah, start recording. Start recording the second after I slate this.
I started recording.
The second after I slate the camera.
I thought I could get away with it.
Okay. Welcome back to the Guys with Glasses
Welcome
podcast.
back.
I'm Nathan. That's Noah. We need to segregate names more.
That's correct.
Because
Yeah.
But anyway, today is
part 2 Interstellar.
You ever get like your throat like sticking and then it makes your voice like an octave higher or something? It's like a weird like like kind of vocal tone.
Yeah, it's like sometimes I get that like either direction as well. Not even higher, but also like it gets stuck lower as well.
Yeah. I just had dinner and I ate too fast, so that might have been part of it. Anyway, welcome back.
Yeah.
To part 2 of our discussion on Interstellar, because it is a very beefy movie and one episode wasn't enough. So
apparently not. No.
Yeah. So I've got a few things. I've got top 5 things you didn't know about Interstellar. I've got a list of some behind the scenes stuff from the behind the scenes documentaries I watched. But then you also said you kind of want to spend more time on the science aspect of it, which the behind the scenes stuff definitely touched a whole ton on.
Definitely. I feel like we should just go through your like concrete list. I didn't like make a concrete list, so if we go through your list and any of them are like adjacent to the thing I want,
a few of them are because Kip Thorne, who's the scientific advisor on the movie, is in a lot of the behind the scenes docs.
That makes sense. Yep.
So I guess we can just start with the top of my list, which is Kip Thorne and some of the equations he did. So Kip Thorne was, still is he still alive? Probably.
Actually, I think he passed away.
Kip Thorne.
Or maybe he's not. Maybe Kip Thorne.
Yeah, Kip Thorne is still alive.
He's still
good.
alive. Okay. Good.
But he's a longtime friend and colleague of Stephen Hawking. Okay. Apparently, he was good friends with Stephen Hawking. Oh, he worked on Tenet as well. He helped Nolan with Tenet, which doesn't. Sense. The thing is, Tenet is like kind of notoriously like not supposed to make sense. Like Nolan's been like just feel it. You know, there's the line in the movie is like, don't try to understand it, feel it. So it's kind of strange they got a scientific advisor on that one.
You're still messing with like weird time warping and stuff, so you'd have to have some. I think more so than because the weird time warping is something that's just difficult to understand anyways. So we're getting off track
anyway
so fast already. But but like it makes sense that he'd need to have someone there who'd be like, hey, would this like make sense like self-consistency wise with like a timeline? That makes a little bit of sense to me, I suppose.
But yeah, we don't know what he did on Tenet, but what we do know is that he is the leading scientific expert on gravitational waves and like just gravity in general, which has a lot to do with wormholes and black holes. And so he helped make sure a lot of the science in the movie was accurate. But one of the coolest things is that he helped. So basically, he has done a lot of mathematical algorithms and formulas based on Newton's laws of relativity and his formulas. So he's basically expanded Newton's theories into more concrete mathematical formulas. And before this movie came out, they were just before this movie came out, no one knew what a black hole
looks like. They only had theoretical data.
There was
a bunch of calculations.
There was one simulation from the 70s by a French scientist, but it was like black and white, and it was a 70s computer sim. So
they didn't have a lot of like hard data. They just had a lot of guesstimates, essentially.
So one of the things about Interstellar is that it actually spawned maybe more scientific papers, because thanks to just the budget of Hollywood and like the raw computing power and rendering farms they had, this was the first time that anyone visualized a black hole in photorealistic quality. This was the first photoreal simulation of a black hole was the black hole
And
that
this
they
was
used.
something I looked.
The VFX
This was something I
people.
looked up, by the way.
Yeah.
They did that in 2014. It was not until 5 years later in 2019 that we got our first picture of a black hole, which is like really grainy and small.
Yeah.
But the first picture of the black hole was 5 years after Interstellar came out.
Yeah.
Which is just wild. And it was perfect too. Like they were dead on.
Yeah.
They were as close as they could have possibly gotten.
The thing is, so Kip Thorne, he talked about like how he knew what a black hole looked like just logically. He's like, okay, you've got the disk, and the disk was like the one thing everyone agreed. Everyone was like, you're for sure on. I think when Interstellar was coming out, the over and under light refraction. That was still theoretical. But Kip Thorne was doing. He was when he was writing his formulas, he was like, this probably means that like the light would refract over and under, right?
There's like a
and basically the VFX team had all of Kip Thorne's formulas and stuff that they could just like kind of plug in to
into massive computers.
Their super high budget Hollywood, VFX simulators
rendering,
and just like that, the light it confirmed that the light went over and under a black hole, and that was the first like real like simulation and real confirmation that like it was theoretical before, but just plugging in the math, it does it. It just does that.
It works. Yeah.
And because of that, there's actually a scientific paper that Kip Thorne wrote after the movie came out, saying like, okay, here are some of the things that we discovered while working on Interstellar
during production
because we have these high quality sims. They could see the way light reflected or like squeezed and stuff. There's like kind of the way like a anamorphic lens works. If you don't know what an anamorphic lens is, it's a lens that basically squeezes a wider field onto a square. Back when film is like square, that's why old movies are like 4x3. And anamorphic lenses, they use them on like La La Land. They use them on a lot of productions. If a production is shot on film and is in the widescreen, it's usually anamorphic. Sometimes they'll do spherical lenses, but it's usually anamorphic. But the way those lenses work is that they kind of like refract the image in weird ways. And you see that with a black hole. It's called gravitational lensing. Kind of funnily enough. So a lot of the science, if you know camera lenses, it's kind of the same idea, just with the way gravity bends light. It's not bending light through.
I'm gonna see if I have like a way to visually describe this for those who are watching on YouTube. I do know essentially how this works. So essentially, if I'm looking at the black hole here, and this duck is the black hole, it's not lighting up. But let's say this duck is the black hole, right? And if I'm looking at the black hole, and all the light that's coming straight from the black hole, like inside the black hole, there's no light. All the light gets sucked in because the black hole is so dense and has so much mass that gravity overpowers everything. Even photons can't even get out, despite how fast they are. So what happens essentially is all the light coming from behind the black hole and from a bunch of different directions. Essentially, what happens is, as long as they're not headed straight into the black hole, if they're like kind of going like grazing the edges of its gravitational sphere, even if it would normally be like coming from behind the black hole, because of its extreme pull, it will kind of pull the light around the black hole, and the light will just kind of like spin, and it creates this illusion of there being like a light source around the black hole, but it's actually not a light source.
Here's one of my camera lenses, and if I kind of focus up on it, focusing closer or farther away, you can kind of see that the lens is like it's bent, it's circular somewhat. Yeah, it's
bending the light around the lens.
Yeah, it's like a contact lens. It's the same idea.
Yeah, it results in a similar outcome, but it's two different ways of doing it. You get refraction through material change, and that's one way to change the direction of light. But this is essentially forcing light to change direction just through the pure power of gravity, which is
you can
an
just
insane thing.
You can just see my face is upside down if you look through the lens.
Completely
but
upside down, yeah.
It also changes, like, it like changes. It's hard to visualize, but anyway.
It's hard to visualize through another camera. Yeah.
But anyway, as you get to
really
the
neat because
edge of a black hole, the light starts to squeeze, and so you'll actually see that like
it like condenses
it condenses and then like spreads out more as you get away from the black hole, and that refraction and that lensing,
which is why it looks like
something
like Saturn's rings. It looks like something that's physical, or like a diffused light source or something, but it's actually just a conglomeration of a bunch of light coming from different directions that from your perspective looks like it's coming from the black hole, but it's not actually a source of light. It's just a bunch of light being bent around a giant gravity well.
At the most basic example, imagine just like a bunch of parallel lines, and the lines get tighter and tighter, closer together as you get closer to the black hole, and they were able to visualize that as well with all the VFX.
And because the black hole is so strong, all those lines get wrapped around the sphere that is the like well of the black hole, essentially. With it getting denser as it gets closer. It's really, really neat. And another thing that I saw that was also really scientifically accurate, which is related, was the way that they depicted the wormhole.
Yeah, right? I've got black hole and wormhole right next to each other because they're in the same kind of idea. Because it's
the wormholes were really interesting because they, like a lot of wormhole, like in Halo, they have like slip space wormholes, and they're just like flat circles that they go through. That doesn't make any sense. Like that's not how wormholes work. Because wormholes are basically you're crossing from a 3D space to a 4D through a 4D space and into another 3D space. So it's like, and 4D spaces to us like are just like jumbo garbage. Like it doesn't make any sense to us because we just our brains cannot interpret 4D space. We can make 3D representations roughly of 4D space.
Which when they travel through the wormhole, it's kind of the closest idea of like you're traveling along the edge, because the wormhole is like a circle, and you're like going along the one of the edges of the circle because there's nothing like in that space kind of beyond your reach. The idea is like if you have a camera lens, it's called a wormhole because of worms chewing through apples or whatever. But if you have a 3-dimensional object and you want to put a hole through it, the hole's going to be 2-dimensional, right? It's just straight through. But if you have a 3D object like reality, if reality is 3D, then
you have to, it has to like punch through 3D and then go. So like this is the way that a lot of scientists describe it, is you have a 2D plane. So if we move everything down one dimension, we go from 3D to 2D, and then
that's what I was trying to explain, but I was struggling with it.
So basically, you've got this napkin, right? And this is our universe. This is a 2D plane. This is our universe. It's actually 3D, but like for visualization's sake, it's 2D. I want to get from. Do I have a pen? Yeah, I do. I want to get from one point on my plane to another. I want to get from here to here. But to get from there to there, it's like 50 bazillion years to do that. So I don't want to make that journey, right? I want to make it like 3 minutes. So essentially what I have to do is find some way to take this piece of paper and fold it on its end, and then stab through it. I have to fold the paper.
Which is a scene in the movie they kind of explain.
Yeah. You have to fold the paper. You have to basically fold the universe in on itself and then stab through it. And this space in the middle, that's 4D space. This isn't like right now it's 3D with this representation, but you're stabbing through 4D space to get to 2 different points in 3D space.
If you want to move through 3D space, you need to make a 2D hole. So if you want to move through 4D space, you need a 3D hole, which is a sphere. If you make a circle if you make a 3D circle, it's a sphere. And so the most accurate representation
all of that to describe why the wormholes are a sphere.
So at the very simplest explanation, 3D space you get through with a 2D hole. So 4D space to get through with the 3D hole, which is a sphere.
With the circle.
And so that's why the wormhole looks like a glass sphere that like bends light around it.
So if there were 4-dimensional beings that went from 4D space to 4D space through a 5D hole, that would be whatever the 4D equivalent.
5D space through a 4D hole.
Yeah, 5D space through a 4D hole. That would be whatever the equivalent of a 4D sphere is. I don't actually know what that is. I'm curious now. What's a 4D sphere?
There was a super trippy movie I watched in science class in like middle school. It was like, I think it was called Flatland, and it was about like about these like flat squares that like didn't believe in like 3D reality, and it was like beyond their understanding. Kind of the idea like, you know, if we want to pare it down a second, if you want to move the fastest way between two spaces on a 2D plane is a line. That's one dimension, right? So it's
okay. It's literally called the hypersphere. So that's that's helpful. Someone described it on like a random Reddit thread as like you're not going to be able to visualize it, so it's impossible to try to visualize it. But if you're making a hypersphere out of spheres is like making a sphere that's in 3D out of drawing two discs next to each other. So like you're drawing two circles next to each other and then overlaying them in some way to create a sphere. But you'd have to do that with two spheres to create a hypersphere. And like that means nothing. So like exactly. Just whoosh.
Right over my head, yeah.
yeah. It's like this is the problem. You cannot visualize 4D spaces because we are physically incapable of doing so. Like there is no possible way on Earth that like I don't remember what piece of media it was. Maybe it was Star Trek or something, like some Star Trek show, but there was some Star Trek show where one of the engineer, like super science, like smart characters was like, yeah, I can visualize things in 4D space. It's a rare trait, but I can do it. I'm like, no, you can't. No, you can't. That you are lying. I'm sorry. If you are not an android or a computer, you are lying. You are not data. You are a human being. You cannot visualize things in 4D space. You're just incapable of doing so. Like that's not real. That's not real. You can't do it.
Can't visualize things in 4D space.
Well, they can't computers can do calculations for it.
Yeah,
but there's no really
true.
such thing as computers. There's no such thing as computers visualizing it.
They can calculate it, but they have to visualize it in a 3D environment.
Visualizing for computers would be displaying to us what the calculations are. And again, that would require us visualizing it. So like that's impossible.
You can calculate, but like, you can't see it. It just doesn't
make sense.
Is the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. If you had like a sentient computer like Data, like an android, maybe they could like have some kind of like semblance of understanding what it could be structured like. But like then we're getting so far into like sci-fi fantasy that it doesn't even matter anymore. Yeah. So like it's not relevant.
Okay. Well, in case we haven't lost for the people who stuck through that conversation and decided not to click away, let's pare things down a little bit. More traditional kind of film behind the scenes, some stuff I thought was cool. For example, they were driving through the cornfield, you know, and chasing the drone like towards the beginning of the movie. Obviously, they could not see. The stunt driver could not. Obviously, they didn't put Matthew McConaughey in the truck. They didn't put Matthew McConaughey in the truck. It was a stunt driver. When you see anything from like a bird's eye view outside of the truck, there's a stunt driver going through. Yeah. But the stunt driver could not see anything. So the way they shot that scene is that they had basically a stunt driver complete trust to a guy in a helicopter with a radio saying left, right, straight, stay straight, stop.
Crazy.
Yeah. So it's basically the helicopter was basically directing the stunt driver is like left, and just kind of directing him like moment by moment so that they could get that scene because the driver could not see anything.
I mean, I guess that makes more sense too because they wouldn't be like in the movie they weren't driving to like a destination at the end of the cornfield. They were just trying to keep up with the drone.
Yeah.
So like if that's kind of like if you imagine that like obviously that's not what they were doing with the helicopter, but like in a situation where they would just like fly a helicopter really low and be like follow the helicopter, like that would make more sense as well. But yeah, of course they wouldn't be able to. Even in the movie, they probably couldn't see anything. I mean, they almost like went off a cliff at the end of that scene.
Yeah.
They're like,
That's just because Coop wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
His son was like, Dad,
they were
Dad,
out of the
Dad.
cornfield at that point.
And they like finally looked at, stopped paying attention to the drone.
There's a clip. Yeah.
Another thing is
that seems really funny.
The farmhouse they built practically with the cornfield. I don't know. The cornfield story is kind of famous. I'm not going to go too deep into it, other than the fact that they planted the corn in like a place of part of Canada that corn does not grow in, and so kind of miraculously the corn grew in time for them to film, and they were able to actually sell the crop after and make a profit.
That's crazy.
Anyway,
imagine buying corn from the set of Interstellar.
Yeah.
That would be that's like such a random like lore moment to have. You're like, oh yeah, I had corn in the cob one night. It was from the Interstellar set. It was good.
But you need that context for this kind of next part, because they grew the cornfield completely practically, and so of course the farmhouse is practical as well. They wanted to put the farmhouse in, and that way you can like visualize the cornfield like outside of the windows and stuff, and really like use the windows, not have to like green screen those, whereas it would for like an interior studio set. So they built the house for real, and before they did, they were basically, because they were building this house from scratch, they could basically decide exactly how it was positioned to like the sun to get the best shot. So they actually built a small little 2-foot tall
like a replica
model of the house, and basically just went on location and just started like turning the house around and like looking through the little model windows, seeing like, okay,
seeing like where the God rays went and stuff.
So they were using it as a lighting reference. So they're basically using it as like, cool. Okay, if we build the house in this orientation, how is the sun going to come through? Can we use this? Can we build the house in a specific angle so the sun comes through your window in a critical scene kind of thing? So they basically had this. They had this little 2-foot tall model house really cool. that they just went on set and were like, okay, how is the light gonna shine onto the porch? How is this gonna work out? And they just like oriented the house based on their the best guesses they could, based on just going on set with a little model house and seeing how the light would shadow and shine on everything, and just went like, hey, we'll build the house. Cool. We'll build the house in that orientation now. So they could be.
I imagine
they could do some really fun stuff.
They also probably built
light.
The house with some like secret like filmmaking extras built into it, right?
Probably,
they probably built it with like there's like a nice little hole here to poke a camera through, or like a nice little like corner that like we can have the mic guy stand in the corner or whatever. It was they probably kept that in mind as well.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty neat.
But yeah, mostly it was they were focusing on the lighting, specifically on the behind the scenes little clip I saw.
Huh, that's really neat.
Which is fun.
Huh.
Oh, so one thing I didn't mention last time that I forgot to mention was probably my favorite joke in the whole movie. Was the TARS is like little humor light thing. The timing. So as they're taking off, TARS like they're talking about like TARS' humor setting, and he's like, I can use. I have a little light. I have a little light I can use to show you when I'm joking. You guys can use it to find your way back to the ship after I blow you out of the airlock. Ding. And it's like the slightest little delay. The timing on that scene. It's not even a ding. It's just a little click. It's just like, yeah, you can use it to find your way back to the ship after you blow you out of the airlock. Click. It's just the little click sound effect, and the timing on that made that my favorite joke in the whole movie. I
forgot about that scene.
That and the end, when Murph is telling him to like go to Brand or whatever, and they have like no one loves his like voiceover, epilogues, like someone, you got the obvious super famous one of Gordon's speech in The Dark Knight. But he loves these kind of ending scene monologues, and you can also just kind of intercut some visual gags while you're listening to the monologue. And my second favorite joke in the movie is the is the engineer guy just like walking down the hall of like ships, like the kind of one person spacecrafts or whatever, and he's like walking down the hall, this bay, it's like an air bay or whatever.
It's just a bay, and then it has like a couple platforms.
I'm forgetting the name of it. But anyway, he stops and he turns and sees one missing, and I just laughed out loud so hard. Just like, they don't say anything. It's purely a visual thing, but it's like, Coop stole that ship.
it's literally just the like double take of the crap. I'm gonna lose my job.
It's like, well, you'd imagine he's a NASA pilot. Of course, he could probably ask. He could probably
get by and say like,
it's the fact that it's just the implication that he didn't ask for a ship. He just kind of took one of the crafts they had, and the reaction of the engineer, that was my second favorite joke in the movie. That one got me really good.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that one was really good as well.
Because it's in a really good moment too, because it's at the end of a pretty somber set of scenes. And it's like, it's a pure release. It's a pure release moment right at the end. Yeah. I've got a few other things, but do you have anything you want to bring up?
Closed window. I wanted to bring up as well the less about the specifics of how black holes work, but just the black hole in the setting, because I think it's really interesting that they chose specifically a supermassive black hole as well. Like, they didn't just choose a random black hole. It could have been whatever they wanted, but they made a black hole that canonically is 100 million times the mass of the sun. Like, the radius of it, is the same distance from the center of the sun to the Earth's orbit.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah. So the distance from the sun to the Earth is the radius of that black hole.
Oh, wow.
just to the barrier of the black hole, not even including like the accretion disk, right? So like even wider than that visually.
Yeah, you're hitting like
the black part.
Jupiter and Saturn by that point, probably.
Yeah, at that point you're getting to like probably the gas giants, for sure. And it's really interesting to me, just trying to think of something that massive and that high scaled, and thinking, what would that do to the nearby planets, like the planets that were in that gravitational well? Because the two things you'd have to think of is that planets in a stable orbit would have to be way farther away. Like, they are not next to that black hole, like scaled relative to how we're next to the sun. Like, they are way farther away, way farther away. And any that are close, like the water world.
Yeah, I watched a video about this today.
Insane, like huge tidal shifts, and like not even just that, but you'd have to think of like the geological implications of that. Like, how is like the crust of that planet shifting over time? Because like, if it's enough to get 500-meter tall waves just circling the globe like constantly, what is it doing to like the mantle? Like, what is happening to in the inside of that planet? It's got to be like jiggling around like a brain in a jar. Like, it's insane.
Well, it's also
like another idea.
So yeah, I watched a video about this just like an hour or two ago. Basically, like, tides on Earth and waves are caused by the moon's gravitational pull. So that's why I thought the water planet was just like, oh, this is some bizarre kind of fantasy kind of world. And then I forgot, I'm watching Interstellar. There's a scientific reason behind this.
It's not.
So the reason the waves are so you've got these massive tidal waves is because of the gravitational pull of the black hole compared to like the moon on Earth. And that's also why the water is like knee deep everywhere else. Because
it's literally pulling it all. Yeah,
90% of the water is being pulled in two directions.
In this one giant wave.
Yeah, two waves, because it has to be. It's basically like a football. It looks like a football. The
Oh
waves.
yeah, because it'd be pooled like yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I don't know exactly. I don't know how that works, but I don't know how it works. But yeah, the waves. If you got a wave on one side, you have a wave on the other side, just because the way gravity works.
Yeah.
And so you've got this football shaped thing, and then the planet is like
it's just
is the circumference of like the center of the football, basically.
Yeah.
So that's why the water's like knee deep, because all the other water is being pulled in the two directions.
Yeah.
It's not just like this fantasy world, because that was like one of the most fantasy looking parts of the movie to me was like, okay, you got this like
it didn't
planet,
feel scientific,
this oceanic planet that's like knee deep, but watching a video is like, oh, that's actually like pretty accurate to this idea.
And it's really cool because it's like you'd have to imagine how that planet formed as well. Like, did the planet fall into that orbit, or was it always there and like it was slowly like the water just appeared over time? Because you'd also have to imagine I'm trying to think of like how that rotation I'm thinking like, because the water movement is going faster than like obviously an orbit around the or an orbit around the black hole. So it's not dictated by the orbit around the black hole. It's probably dictated by the spinning of the planet.
That's what I was thinking. If the wave is just being pulled towards the black hole, then you got
And so it's probably like you're imagining like the football shape, but the football shape is always constant with the way that the planet rotates, right? So if the planet rotates, the spikes of the football also rotate. But because like of the insane gravity, If you think about the planet is rotating underneath the spikes of the football.
Yeah,
so that's what it is. Are always going to point towards the black hole, and you're just rotating on the ball underneath.
Yeah,
and you're just the wall isn't even coming to you. You're going to the wall,
which has to be doing some major erosion on the earth. Yeah, holy cow!
You're just getting like a huge wave of water. Like constantly, like you're basically just constantly scraping away layers.
That water has to be full of so much silt and
debris.
Mud. Yeah. Because if you think about like the Earth's, so we've got high tide and low tide twice a day because the Earth spins, but the moon stays relatively in the same place. You got a 1/28th of a difference basically, but so you get the Earth rotating gives you high tide and low tide twice a day. So we kind of get that, and we have the result of that over time is like sandy beaches, the water like eroding the rocks on the sides of beaches, and which is also how we get salt water, because salt comes from rocks, and we get oceanic salt water because the water is mixing in with these the rocks that it's kind of tearing away at, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like literally our entire geological process, aside from like the major, like that's just the location of major continents, and that's like more of like terrestrial, like under the ocean.
Yeah, that's a plate
thing. But like the actual like individual formation of like land water boundaries, and even like the shaping and direction of rivers and lakes in some way is caused pretty much entirely by erosion from the tides, which would make sense why there's no land left on that planet. And actually I bet you that planet is the smoothest planet in the galaxy. Like it is so incredibly smooth. I can guarantee you. It is the same all the way around.
Either that, or you'd imagine
or there's a bunch of
Let me finish my thought.
Like poles.
Let me finish my thought. You'd imagine over time the water would be picking up so much debris and stuff that it would just naturally re-separate, because you can't mix water and oil because oil's denser than water, and if you put dirt in water, the dirt like sinks to the bottom. That's kind of how it works, unless you mix it in the mud. But if you let mud sit for like a whole lot of time, then the water just kind of naturally will probably separate, right? So I imagine, just because of the way gravity would work, like over time the water would be picking up so much debris it wouldn't be able to hold anymore, so it would just kind of keep separating, and you just have this like condensed like sandy ball almost.
what I'm imagining is also, you'd have to imagine we're looking at a 3D sphere, not a 2D circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the waves are going to be
right
at either end.
Oh,
so
right,
the poles of that
poles.
planet are not going to be mostly affected by that water. So all of the debris is probably gathering at the poles, at the north and south poles.
Right.
Or like the east, however, like you measure directions on that planet. I don't know if it spins on like this axis or on that axis. Doesn't really matter. But like wherever the water is not touching, like, because there is going to be a location on that planet that's safe from the wall, essentially. Like you cannot have a dual direction wave unless you've got some weird fluctuation in the way that the wave moves, which might happen with the orbit of the black hole. That might happen. So that may, like, if that does happen, that completely changes this equation. But assuming it's
kind of how like the Earth,
like,
the Earth is on a tilt in relation to the sun. So that's how we have seasons. That's how we have seasons. So like the waves could be kind of waving across the planet.
That could very well be the case as well. But like assuming that it's mostly consistent, like in a direction, right? You'd have two poles that are mostly away from the bulk of the movement of the waves. You might get a little bit of tide swelling here and there, but like not by much. So you'd have a lot of like debris just concentrated in those locations, still getting shifted around and like added to and subtracted from like occasionally. But most of the debris from the rest of the landmass of that planet is all going to gather in two spots.
Yeah.
Which is just like wild to think about. Like you basically have two like sandy supercontinents like at opposite ends of the planet, which is like crazy.
Well,
and it'd also be way taller than the rest of the planet. Like it would be like the difference between the Mariana Trench and Mount Everest, but it would just be like instantaneous at like two spots. Which is just
pull up like a
weird
image from the movie. Try to see if you can see that from space.
Yeah. Interstellar Water World.
Clouds. It's Miller's planet.
Miller's planet.
Miller's planet. Yeah.
Miller's planet space.
The most I can see is like clouds.
Yeah. Well, it's probably still going to have water over it to some extent. But there's a part of that planet that's not going to be as impacted by the waves. For sure. And I think that's just really interesting.
Also, kind of behind the scenes, they shot that in a real play. That was not green screen at all. That was a real kind of flat in Iceland, I believe. No.
That makes sense.
I don't know where it was, but it's basically like this,
weirdly flat part of ocean.
Yeah, it's somewhere in like the Nordic countries they shot a lot of this movie in. I think it was Iceland, because I think in a separate part of Iceland they shot Man's Planet, and in another separate part of Iceland they shot Batman Begins, like the Himalayas scenes. So he mentioned that
he mentioned that access to one specific part of Iceland.
Nolan said they actually came back. They shot Man's Planet where they did because they were there for Batman Begins, and they were like, "There's a lot of cool terrain here that we didn't get to use for Batman Begins, so let's just do it here."
Use it for Interstellar,
yeah. So yeah, in contrast to Miller's Planet, you got Man's Planet, which has like frozen clouds, which is kind of cool. Like, which you would imagine meant that the planet was warm enough to precipitate at some point, or
but
like
too cold to keep it from being water for long, right? Which begs the question, like, that wouldn't have, like, if you could not get. I have a hard time imagining that it was at no point I have a hard time imagining that it was always completely ice, solid water.
I mean, it depends on if man is lying or not. I don't think he is when he says that when he sent probes deeper into the planet, he found like more livable conditions.
Oceans and stuff.
Yeah. Because
but
he
even
was like,
still, there's like, even if that was the case, you're not living there long.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen. Which is just,
Because to have like frozen
insane,
I was just thinking like to have frozen clouds, you need to have had it warm enough to like evaporate and then freeze up there.
Yeah,
it had to have been warm enough to have a
and
water
then somehow
cycle.
It's being kept up there as well. Somehow your air is dense enough to keep frozen water in the air in streaks.
Well, no. It's they are connected. You see that in Men's Planet a couple times. They're basically
they're actually connected to the ground.
It's like a stalagmite and a stalactite. The way stalagmites and stalactites work is like eventually like they kind of connect. Supports. Oh wait, eventually they connect. They have those supports. So the whole planet is like this patchwork of frozen clouds connected with these massive ice features, you know, and it's kind of like, and they are all kind of in this middle area. And then according to Man, there's also a lower, warmer area.
I wonder if there's an implication there. Then this probably is what the implication is. So like over time, there's the evaporation and cooling, and that creates a layer. And you're seeing that with the upper layer of like frozen clouds, but also the layer that they're standing on is just probably an older layer of the same process.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so like, I mean, you saw the ice caves that went down. So it's probably just all of that just ice that they're standing on is just the same process that happened geologically, but then there's just another layer down that they haven't gone to.
Yeah, he said he sent probes down, and he was showing them his findings. So I don't think he was lying about that. Obviously, Man had issues, but I don't think he was lying about saying he had found livable conditions under the planet. I just don't think that was that was not enough for him.
I think it was just impossible for him to get down to.
It was not enough for him to not just break down mentally. So
yeah,
he was still alone. Yeah.
I wonder what that would have looked. I wish we could have seen maybe he had like computer renders of like what the probes found that were like just dimly lit, like barely lit up, and like topographical maps of what he thought it looked like. I wish we'd seen a little bit of that, because that could have been really, really cool. Just imagining like a giant like cave subterrane where it's like giant like ice pillars and like an ice cave ceiling, and then like another layer of mostly ice, but there's still like there's actually some sediment and stuff down there, and maybe like a little bit of living, like a life. The thing
is though, you go under the surface and you're not getting like vitamin D light then. Vitamin D from the light. Yeah.
But yeah.
So like that would have affected his mental health even more. Like vitamin D is a big like mental health thing. That's why they make
unless
like sun
you have
lamps,
some kind of like system of like reflections. Like if you can get like a bunch of reflective mirrors like down one of the caves,
or just the sheer amount of ice allowed it to reflect a good amount, like a dim amount down there,
where you just kind of had some like ambient refraction through the ice. Perhaps that would be interesting. I forget what the final planet looked like. What was the final planet?
You see it for like 10 seconds at the end when Brand is burying her love or whatever, but that was the planet that was livable. That's the planet they're heading to. That was most Earth-like.
It still looks very like deserted, you know. It still looks like there's no plants really. It's just mountain ranges and rocks.
It looks kind of Middle Eastern desert, like
or like
not quite Middle Eastern, more like Utah.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
It looks like Utah,
like middle of the like almost like near the like the Salt Plains or something. You know?
Yeah, definitely like southwest U.S.
Yeah, it's very
mountainy, rocky. Yeah,
I'm curious as to how like the water conditions on that planet are. Because it like it was so stark to me whenever we saw like, and this is also what I think is interesting. It's very interesting because like the two planets that were deemed like completely unlivable are the ones that had entirely water, and this like seems kind of antithetical to like how you would imagine it.
Yeah, I mean the question of whether Mars
water better
has water it has liquid water is like one of the questions of the century.
Yeah, and it also went in order of having liquid water more to less. which is really interesting. And they went to the more one, and that was a fail. And they went to the medium one, and that was a total fail. And then they went to the one that seemingly has the least water, at least from just the visual that we saw. And that was the only successful one. So it makes you think that, like, okay, having liquid water, very important, yes. But this is not the only factor that leads to livability.
And also, you imagine, like water process, you can bring a whole ton of water with you and, like, introduce it into the environment if you don't have it yet.
Yeah.
I mean, can you introduce water? You'd imagine if a planet could sustain liquid water, it would have already.
If you want to introduce water to a planet, the problem with introducing water to a planet is, like,
I imagine it'd be problematic.
It would be severely problematic terms of, like, a
if not
scale.
Problematic, at least extremely complicated.
Extremely complicated. And also, it would change the humidity of the air. It would change the density of the air. It would change air pressure. It'd change temperature of the planet. It would change dynamics of, like, the weather patterns on the planet if it has any. It would create new weather patterns if it doesn't have any. Like, it would screw everything royally up. So, like, if you're looking at a planet that's mostly livable, but there's just a little bit of water, you're probably just going to make things worse if you just dump a whole ton of water into it, like, magically.
Yeah. Which is probably why they just have to
screw things up.
It's probably just why they have to bring a whole ton and just kind of recycle it.
Yeah. Or maybe on this planet, maybe there's, like, a bunch of water, like, slates underneath the surface.
Or maybe we just can't see beyond the, like, 5 miles of Brand's little landing area. So
yeah, maybe on the other side of the camera, there's a massive ocean that we can't see.
Or it is just like the middle of Utah and there's water plenty of other places.
I can't imagine, though, that if they're calling this a fully livable planet, that there isn't some kind of, like, weather cycle or seasonal cycle to this planet as well, if it's, like, Earth-like. You know what I mean? Like, what we're seeing of this bit with Brand can't be the only terrain that you see on that planet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're only seeing, like, a few miles of radius.
Yeah, it would. And that's the other part that's, like, weird to think about with the other two planets. It's like, how did they develop with essentially only water and only ice? Like, how do you manage that? How does that happen?
Yeah.
Like, I get the one near the black hole, I understand, because it's like water, the liquid water just, like, wiped everything else away. But the ice one, like, it would have to be, like, incredibly diverse underneath the ice layers in terms of, like, makeup, if not in terms of life, in terms of, like, the way that it's made up. It's just like a really interesting concept. And I also want to know how, like, those ice spikes, how those ice clouds even formed. Like, is it, like, water vapor coming out from under, like, the lower levels and then, like, freezing as it, like, rises, and then just staying there once it freezes?
Okay, I was looking into it. Due to the appearance of clouds, just the appearance of clouds is enough to say there's a water cycle. Yeah. There's clouds on the planet. Yeah,
at least to some extent.
That, and there
Obviously,
has to be
shooting out on Earth.
There has to be biological. There has to be biological life that produces oxygen, because it is, because it's a breathable planet. I don't think she has her helmet on in the last scene, does she? She doesn't. She does. Yes. No, she doesn't.
Oh no, she does. She takes it off. Yeah, but she has it on part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's clouds and she can breathe, which means there has to be some sort of life there that produces oxygen. So,
or if not life, then there's at least a higher base level oxygen level in the atmosphere.
Well, no, right? From this wiki article, it's a fandom wiki, so take it with a grain of salt.
Well, if there's not,
but it does say the only known
consuming oxygen,
the only known mechanism by which a planet could sustain sufficient oxygen levels, is biological, for humans to breathe over a long period of time.
Well, yeah, but it could like you could spawn a planet in with oxygen in the atmosphere, and it's not going to leak out, right? So you might be able to introduce biological life to it so you can sustain there for a long period of time. But if you're
because there's nothing there to start consuming it,
because you're going to breathe the oxygen and turn it to carbon dioxide. But if it's just a stagnant planet with a weather cycle, there's nothing that's consuming.
You're going to run out of eventually.
Yeah. Eventually, once you get there, though, you're going to start consuming it. So you need to introduce biological life to reverse what you're doing. So maybe biological life, maybe not, but definitely water cycle. So, good for that planet.
Yeah.
Good planet. Good work, planet. Oh my gosh.
So
the
crew member they lose on the water planet, Doyle. I didn't realize that, like, with the helmets on, it was harder to like really gauge what he looked like. But then he took the helmet off, and I'm like, do I know this guy? I recognized I was like kind of recognizing his face as like, this guy is like vaguely familiar. I looked into it. He's Seneca Crane from Hunger Games. He's the guy with like the godlike beard in the first movie. He's the one. He's the one with the super neat. It's a super cool beard in the first movie. And I was like, okay, without the beard, he's still got facial hair in Interstellar. But yeah, it was hard for me to just nail him right off the bat. But yeah, I was like, it was super. It was like, I know this actor. It hit me when I was watching the behind the scenes stuff, because he's like sitting down closer. Like it's like a closer shot because of it's like an interview setting. I'm like, that's what I know him from.
That's a really
I don't think I've seen him outside of Hunger Games. Wes Bentley. I don't know if I've seen him outside of Hunger Games in this movie.
What's he done before?
He's done the 2016 Pete's Dragon. I grew up in the original one. Hunger Games, Interstellar, Mission Impossible, Fallout, and Yellowstone are his big roles. Oh, and American Beauty, which I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I don't see anything here that I would like recognize.
Yeah, Hunger Games and Interstellar are like his second and third most famous roles, it says. So
apparently he was in Mission Impossible MI6 for some kind of role. The 2018 movie.
Mission Impossible Fallout, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's in the Yellowstone TV series, which I haven't seen, but he's done 49 episodes of that. So, yeah,
interesting. And
the very last thing I have on this list is something that like I've kind of thought about, but I kind of knew but didn't think about it very much. But it's really cool, is the fact that Nolan does these movies with like his close family members, which is super cool, because he co-writes pretty much everything with John. So the reason he got the Interstellar job, Steven Spielberg was originally going to do it based on I think Jonathan Nolan, Christopher Nolan's brother, wrote the screenplay, and then when Spielberg dropped out, it was like, okay, Chris can do it, Yeah. So, I know another prestigious filmmaker. Don't worry, I'll get him on the line.
Director. Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
But he co-wrote. He co-writes like pretty much everything Chris does, and his wife, what's her name? She doesn't share his last name, so I didn't realize it was his wife until I looked it up. But they like seemed like super close. I was like, are they closer than just like work companions? And they are. They're husband and wife. For Nolan, and what's her name? Emma Thomas. She like produces everything, and so it's like a family trio of like husband, wife, and brother of just like
screenwriter, director,
producer. Like,
that's crazy.
Holy cow! You've got like such skill in this family. Like, the
holy trinity of Hollywood.
You've got a holy trinity of writer, director, and producer. Like,
Yeah.
And I imagine they work really well together because they just know each other super well. So it's like,
probably.
It's just like that is career goals for me. That is
for sure.
Imagine if I could like being a filmmaker would be awesome, but being a filmmaker with like, you know, my sister does a lot of artwork, so like being a filmmaker with my sister doing some amount of like pre-production help and like just having like my family members like side by side would be like. That's like a step above.
Yeah, family,
career
close
goal,
friends and stuff. Yeah.
It's like career goal versus like dream lifestyle goal. You know.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense as to why you see so many like directors and actors like consistently working with each other over and over. Like I think of like James Gunn. James Gunn has like a handful, not a handful. He has a pretty wide roster of people he works with pretty frequently. Like he works with a lot of the same actors on projects pretty frequently.
He and who plays Rocket?
What's Rocket's view?
Bradley Cooper. I'm pretty sure James Gunn and Bradley Cooper have done a lot of stuff together. Yeah.
Yeah, like they have it. Once you create even just like a friend connection for work with people, it becomes way easier to work with them, and you can do like in a Hollywood setting, like if you're at that level. I remember seeing something with James Gunn and the guy who played Superman in Superman 2025, right? Where you could tell that they yeah. I could tell that they kind of like had like formed some kind of like friendship or bond, at least through the production of that movie, maybe beforehand, I don't know. But I remember seeing a behind the scenes bit of that movie where he was acting a scene and he was like, you could tell he wasn't quite getting it where he wanted it to be, where the actor wanted it to be. And James Gunn was like trying to like explain like the vibe to him. And then he was just kind of standing there next to James Gunn, like staring off into the space.
Yeah, I've seen this clip.
And he was like, oh, so wait, so like, and then he swings it in a slightly different way, and he's like, and James Gunn's like, yes, and he's like, yes, okay, go, and then he's like, got it, let's shoot it, and then he does it. Yeah, and then he does it, and then like, I think David, that's the one.
Yeah, I think David was the one who's like, got it, let's shoot it while I'm in the mindset, you know. Like, he's like, got it, started walking on set, you know. That was
exactly. I think that scene was whatever he was like talking.
He was giving a
Lex
speech
Luthor,
to Luthor,
like right at the end of the movie. Yeah.
I still haven't seen Superman.
Yeah. Okay, I won't spoil anything, but he's talking at the very end of the movie. It was a good speech. It was a good speech. I could see why it would be difficult to nail. You know, a Superman speech is an important thing. You know, it's an important thing. Go see it though. Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good.
I am put off by the visuals and the music. I know the story is what everyone is praising so much, like the characters and like the perfect portrayal of Superman and the thematic identity.
The Boy Scout.
But I can't stand the like fast moving fisheye lens. Like I talked about my kind of dislike of the wide lenses on Hunger Games. The fisheye lenses in Superman are off the charts, and it's doing impossible camera moves, like even more impossible than like a superhero movie normally does.
It doesn't show up as often as like the trailers would imply. I think like it does show up a lot in like a couple of scenes, like a couple of really specific scenes that like are like big scenes for the trailers, right? But like it's not like Hunger Games where it's like all the way through they used a fisheye lens.
But like it's in all the action scenes. It's in all the action scenes, which is like which takes me out of the action scenes.
Some of them,
like, but also the music. I tried listening to the soundtrack.
It's done more tastefully than with Hunger Games, I would say, at least.
Yeah, but Hunger Games is also more subtle. Like it's obviously it's really noticeable, but it's more subtle than the super fisheye Hunger Game or Superman lenses they do. But also the music is so I've tried listening to the soundtrack. Everything sounds like computerized. Nothing sounds like it was recorded for real. And also the music sounds very, very like, what's the word? It's not temp track, but
it sounds basic.
It sounds like
to an extent
trailer music, and it was like Like the action.
It sounds like generic superhero music, you know? It's
less than generic.
This is a superhero movie.
It's like I was so excited that they were bringing the John Williams theme back, and it's used 2 or 3 good times in the soundtrack. But the action music is so bland. It's so bland. It's I couldn't get into the soundtrack, and the cinematography like throws me off. And it's like, okay, the writing has to do so much for me to want to see this movie.
It does do a lot of heavy lifting. It does. It really does. The writing is like really good.
But also, I know it's a James Gunn movie, and like I know it's James Gunn likes to do, like he did in Guardians, and it worked really well with Guardians.
He likes to experiment a lot. Yeah.
His writing is very like,
sometimes it does.
I know Superman is being praised so much for being like so like genuine and like emotional, but and he can do that, but like I don't know, James Gunn feels Marvel quippy to the worst degree sometimes. Right?
Yeah.
He will take Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I haven't seen 3, but 2 has like some of the best scenes in Marvel. But also, like, a scene will be super epic, and then you'll be taken out by a slapstick joke. Yeah. Like he's slapsticky. That's the word I'm thinking for. He's slapsticky in a way that takes me out of the scene a lot. And it's like I'm just not a general James Gunn fan in general, and this movie seems like it's kind of got a lot of the same issues for me, along with the really bad music and really bad cinematography. And it's like,
the music was like mid for me. It wasn't anywhere close to me.
It sounds low budget. It sounded to me like one of those like Superman theme but epic, like YouTubers would do. Like YouTubers who just installed a DAW for the first time and basically did like just making like a quote unquote epic version of like movie themes, and it's just so generic sounding. It sounded like it was one of those like movie theme but epic YouTubers with a DAW that like they barely used, and it's like oh man, it was anyway
had, like bass drums and
anyway off of the Superman rant.
It was also Guardians 3 was better than Guardians 2. I'll just say that.
Guardians 2 was better than Guardians 1, and then like
Guardians 3 was better than Guardians 2.
They also had more of,
I'm just
declaring that. I think Guardians 1, so out of the 2 movies, I think Guardians 1 has the best blend of serious versus James Gunn slapstick. Like 2 has some really bad James Gunn humor. But it also has the father-son thing that I really like.
Like a lot of good emotion. 3 is like almost abandons the slapstick completely. Like it's there, and you can like there are a couple good moments where it pops up where it's like, I see what you did there. Like it's good, but like it almost as emotionally burdensome to me as Interstellar was. Like, and I'm being so genuine. Like it was.
Well, I heard from everyone it was amazing. Like I had a roommate who watched it 3 times. I got wrecked by that movie. I almost cried, and I don't cry from movies. Like it just doesn't happen to me. And I was like, anyways. Also, my declaration. James Gunn has a lot of like, his movies have a lot of like kind of crass adult humor that I like to. I usually prefer to tone down, more.
Yeah.
I'm
not sure if that was. I'm trying to think if there was any of that in Guardians 3. I'm sure there was something somewhere, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But
the scene I've seen though of Green Lantern, of him like
with the tanks
turning over a tank with like a giant middle finger, that was like one of the funny. That was probably my favorite. That's like my favorite really James Gunn joke.
That was really good.
I think that's probably my favorite James Gunn joke.
That iteration of Green Lantern was so funny. It was so funny. He was so
and Nathan
good at that
Fillion
role.
is so good.
He was so good at that role. It was so fun. Actually, all of the superheroes were good. Actually, I liked all of them. They all had their own little quirks that were really nice.
I am really excited.
Yeah, the characters were great.
I am excited for the Clayface movie. I didn't know anything about Clayface. Basically, I'm excited for the Batman stuff. I'm excited that they're taking Robin seriously again in the movies. Like they're not afraid of Robin anymore. They got 2 Robin movies. They've got 2 movies with 3 different Robins. It's like, oh yes, thank you. And Clayface is like, I've heard everyone's so excited about this. What's the deal about Clayface? So I looked into it and I watched a bunch of clips from the animated series, and it's like, oh, I kind of get it now. He's a bit like Frankenstein almost. Like he doesn't want to be a monster kind of thing.
It's almost like Sandman, but DC.
Yeah. Sandman.
Yeah.
And Sandman is the best part of Spider-Man 3. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't hate Spider-Man. I don't hate Spider-Man 3 like a lot of people do, but
yeah. Anyway, I looked into Clayface a little bit. It was a really interesting looking character. Anyways, that's not Interstellar.
Well, I want to bring up another like kind of family dynamic.
Yeah, that's how we got into that.
Yeah, family dynamic, because you were talking about the dynamic between Gunn and Corn Sweat.
Yeah.
I had to get into one tangent somehow. Somewhere in this.
You know, it has to happen every episode. If we don't have one, then it's not a true episode. You know.
But A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place is have you seen those? They're like like monster movies.
I mean, the monsters. Like I've seen the visuals. I understand. Like
it's like monsters that are like superheroing. So but it was made by John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, who are a married couple, and it was not written by him, but it was written by it. So it was written and directed by John Krasinski, and then he starred himself and his wife in the movie. And it's also a movie about like family dynamics, and like family is the theme of those movies. And it's like, that is career goals for me. That is like, I want to make, and it was like a low budget. I think it was going to start as an indie film, and then a studio picked it up, but it kind of feels slightly lower budget, you know?
Yeah.
Even though, what is the budget of Quiet Place? $17 million. It was low budget. You know, some kind of $17 million.
Whoa, yeah.
That is how much? Wait a minute. What was Godzilla minus one?
Those monsters looked good too. Like in like the little clips I've seen,
they look
like that's some serious
really
CGI.
Good. Yeah, they look really. They also used more conservatively, which probably helped. Godzilla minus one cost 10 to 15 million, so it was budget wise a hair above Godzilla minus one.
Wow.
Which
that's pretty impressive.
Which that kind of budget was because they didn't have Hollywood kind of resources.
So yeah, I saw. Was it your post that I saw this from? They're making -0 now or something, like a new Minus movie.
They announced that a few months ago, and they just came out with the poster and release date for it. But yeah, A Quiet Place, $17 million. It feels like an indie movie made by a husband and wife that wanted to make a movie about the importance of family, and it's also a horror movie. It's like that is like career, like the dream job for me is like doing a movie with one or more people that like I love, and then making a career that would be so cool.
Yeah, that would be really cool actually, man. And then it's really neat that they, like, a lot of times we imagine Hollywood is just kind of like entity that just like pumps out media. Like, but when you boil it down, there's a lot of stuff that comes out that is really just like passion projects from different groups of people, or even individuals. Like it's really crazy. Like I'm sure that Quiet Place for John Krasinski and Emily Blunt was like a major like we want to do this kind
of
thing. Like,
and now they're making a fourth
this is a story
one.
we want to tell
they did
together.
They did one. So they did that part 2. They did a prequel, Day One, a few years ago, like middle of COVID, and then they're working on part 3 as well.
Huh.
But that's if you haven't, I get spoiler. I won't spoil it, but
actually, I wonder what part 2 costed.
Yeah, I imagine it got a lot more money because part 1 made $340 million. So how much is that? 5, 10, 15, at least 15 times the budget.
The part 2 budget. The part 2 budget was $61 million.
Yeah. So they tripled the budget.
They tripled the budget.
And then Day One is right again, like 60 million. Yeah, so
yeah, A Quiet Place Part 1 had a budget of 17 million, made 50 million in its opening weekend, and had 340 million worldwide at the end of its run.
Which is like, I think,
so they
quick math, I think that's about like 15 or 16 times the budget.
Yeah,
we were talking about
bank.
Tron Ares, our first episode of the podcast, and talked about Hollywood like finances and stuff. 17 times the budget is really, really good for a Hollywood movie.
Yeah, and part 2 made about 300 million worldwide at the end of its run in the box office. So that's pretty good as well. That's also a really good run.
All of them have made at least 4 times the budget. Like Quiet Place Part Day One was 67 million and a $261 box office, so about 4 times the budget. So not the same as the first one, but that's just because budgets get bigger, you know.
Whoa. Okay, wait, what was the production budget for Interstellar? Was 165 million. I just looked it up because I was curious. The box office was 3.9 times that, with a worldwide box of 642 million.
Okay, yeah, that's like a really good hit. Like,
good success.
Yeah.
Good success.
Yeah.
You know? 3,561 opening theaters, with a 7.3 weeks average run per theater. That's... Oh, wait. Here's the domestic video sales. $55 million in domestic video sales as well, between DVD and Blu-ray. Wow. So, great success. IMAX. Huh. That's impressive. It is. They've got a bunch of like rankings on the records here on this website. Fastest to 100 million, it's like ranked 257. Fastest to 200 million, it's 254. Interesting. Huh.
Just see Zootopia 2 just like skyrocketed. It ended up becoming like the
is
fourth
Zootopia
highest.
2 out?
Yeah, it came out a couple months ago and became like the 4th highest grossing movie of all time.
You know what? Let's see the number. 1.7 billion. I'm sorry.
9th highest grossing film of all time. Yeah. Behind. Yeah. It was.
They can't make WALL-E 2.
It was not. The only reason it wasn't the highest grossing movie of 2025 was because of Neza 2, which is like a Chinese animated movie that somehow just made like over $2 billion.
That's crazy.
Because China's
I guess if it's if it's within the Chinese
now.
market, then yeah, you've already got like 1.5 billion people like just in your country.
Yeah. Well, that's how movies make their money, and it like the Chinese. If you don't have the Chinese market, your movie is dead on arrival in terms of like studio, studio interest in your movie. So, yeah.
It's number 3 for international box office for Walt Disney movies. Only behind Endgame and Infinity War.
Yeah.
It made more money than The Force Awakens.
No.
Yeah.
The list I'm looking at, it says no. Force Awakens made $2 billion.
This is saying it made 1.1. Maybe this is way off.
It's gotta be. Yeah. Force Awakens made $2 billion. So the list of the highest grossing movies of all time.
No, here it is. Here it is. Yeah, it's $2 billion. Yeah, I was looking at international box office.
International numbers, not just not
okay, yeah. I was looking at the left number, not the right number.
Inside Out 2 did really good too. That's right underneath. So the top 10 movies of all time. Jurassic World got knocked out of the top 10. That was in there for a while. Avatar, Avengers Endgame, Avatar 2, Titanic, Neza 2, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, Avengers: Infinity War, Spider-Man: No Way Home, Zootopia 2, and Inside Out 2. So
this is really interesting. The reason that on this ranking that Zootopia 2 is ranked above Force Awakens is because it did better in international box office. It made 1.3 in international, but 1.9. Force Awakens made 1.1 in international, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in worldwide, Force Awakens made $2 billion. Worldwide, Zootopia 2 only made 1.7.
Mm-hmm.
So domestic box office was the deciding factor here. Star Wars Episode 7 made 900,000 something, whatever, 900 million. Sorry, Zootopia 2 only got 390 million in domestic box office.
Only 390. Only 390.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
No, but like. Yeah. This is like you're seeing I'm seeing the numbers here.
It only made 390 domestically, even though $300 million plus is like
yeah, because it's worldwide is 1.7 billion. It's international is 1.3 billion, and it's worldwide is like 400 million. So like.
I'm just saying a lot of movies would kill for a $300 million box office.
Yeah, but like
period.
Still, I'm just looking at the rest of the list, right? And it is weirdly off scale, like with domestic box office compared to the other movies in that category. Like other movies in that category, like that do really well internationally, also have a decent bit more in domestic box office, but it is just like hitting way under its like striking range in terms of domestic box office, which is like really strange to me. Like I don't know why that would be the case. It's just like a weird like note that I guess saw and wanted to make because it's just like it made
Zootopia
less.
2 is also still
it made
in
less
theaters.
in the domestic box office than Iron Man 3, which is like. Huh?
Well, it's also still in theaters, so.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so it could beat No Way. It needs, I don't know, $200 million. I don't think it's gonna beat No Way Home, but.
No, probably not.
Avatar 3 is 24 on the list right now, and 1 and 2 just became top spots just automatically. So it's kind of surprising that Avatar 3 is like taking a while to get there.
Yeah. That is weird, actually. I haven't seen 2 or 3.
I haven't seen any of them.
Oh, well, yeah, no, fair enough. That's very strange. Is recommended Google people also ask question. Is Zootopia 2 still making money? Thanks, Google. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Google. Huh. Well,
that's all I had on my list of Interstellar stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could mention briefly the spaceships are cool. Like the actual the spaceship that they use to travel through the wormhole. Because they have the rings. And the rings I'm pretty sure are just to create like
centrifugal force for the false gravity, yeah.
Feel some false gravity, which is really cool from like that perspective. Obviously, because that's like a thing that a lot of people don't consider whenever you're in space for long periods of time. Your bones and muscles just like go away if you're not using them. Like,
yeah.
So like, you need that. Very important.
That was a fun line from Man. Is like this planet has a cool like 80% gravity from the from the Earth
from Earth. Yeah. So he's a little bit weaker than he used to be. Yeah.
Well, he was like it was just a fun line. It was like, well, gravity's nice here. It's
it makes me feel nice and light and spry. Yeah. And yeah. But what I was wondering when I was watching it is I don't actually know, so I probably shouldn't make this conjecture without actually knowing, but I'm just gonna like off rip just from knowledge of how the science works. Is there's actually a proposed like FTL drive, faster than light drive, that basically requires rings to warp space around the ship, right? So there's like the idea is you have a massive amount of power, like way more power than we'd ever be able to produce ever for like the same size of ship. It's like ridiculous, but regardless, the idea is basically you're warping space-time around the ship. You're compressing space-time in front of the ship and expanding it behind the ship. And you're putting the ship in a bubble. So you're essentially propelling the ship forward with the difference in space-time from front to back. Kind of like how how wings work, how airfoils work, where you have like a lower pressure on top and a higher pressure at the bottom.
Yeah.
Vice versa. Yeah. But like where it gets pushed up just from like the difference in pressure, but the pressure is space-time.
There was an episode of Doctor Who that you kind of used that was like like time dilation from like within the same ship. Yeah. Like that there was
and you're just moving one end of it, you're just stretching it so it like goes around back, and it's like a weird.
Yeah.
It's theoretically possible to do that. It just requires an insane amounts of power to do. Like I'm pretty sure when I read the like scientific article that like was talking about it, it was like, yeah, you'd need like dark matter. It's like you could not do it with anything we have access to right now. Even if you cover the entire planet with it, it's just not happening. Even if you like pulled all of the power from the sun at the same time, you still couldn't do it. But like, theoretically possible, it's there.
Yeah.
It made me think like, that's not like the intended like look of that. It also the early like the first Star Trek like warp drive or something had like a similar like design shape with how they built it. They had like the rings around the ship instead of just like the pylons.
I don't know Star Trek.
Yeah, it's just like a weird side note. But like, I was wondering if maybe there was like, I was thinking like there's got to be some. Like maybe they pulled that from somewhere, or maybe they just pulled it like specifically from the centrifugal force thing. But it was just interesting to me that it's like, because not only like for the main reason that was in Interstellar, but also for that, like these rings around ships seems to appear a lot now. Like I feel like I've seen it in a lot of media now. I mean, it was in Avatar as well, I believe. The ships, like the colony ships from Avatar, have like the spinning pieces as well, I believe. But I want to look it up.
If you say so.
Avatar colony ship. I might be wrong. Yeah, because there's like they have like they're essentially big sticks. In Avatar, they're essentially big sticks with big engines and radiators at one end. Mm-hmm. And then at the other end, they have like all the pods that they put the people in cryosleep in. And then it just like spin. That's just what that's all it does. It just spin. And it's just, in the Expanse too, like a big thing the ships do, even if they don't have like a ring portion, if they're like battleships or whatever, they still spin. Like, it's a really like, all the ships that are more science-y based than like Star Wars, where it's just like naval battles in space. It's where they're all facing the same orientation, all have one direction that goes up. It's really interesting that I wonder if like that's kind of leaked into other media where it's like, yes, spaceships spin. because spin good.
Yeah.
I don't know if all of the media understands why you've got rings that spin, but it is kind of interesting to me because I don't know if there was any media before Interstellar that really depicted that properly. Maybe there was. Maybe
there was the fun thing about
nonsense, but
there was the fun thing with the seats on like a gyro thing, like the seats were like on a the camera's on this right now, but the camera's like on a gimbal. Here, let's see if I can just connect that real quick, just so you guys can see this. Aha. So, camera.
It's like if you've got like a
gimbal,
like a seat chair. Yeah, like a little gimbal.
Yeah. So the way gimbals work is like you bounce the camera on this, and there are also motors to help it help you like
actively stabilize itself.
Yeah, actively. But you have to balance it on this first, and then the motors will be able to make micro movements to stabilize it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how these work. It's locked in place right now. But if I just unlock this right now, we'll see that starts that
spinning. Yeah.
That I'm so far. Aha. Yeah. That starts doing that, and then that does that.
Ooh, yeah.
And the motors will kick in once you balance the camera on this. But yeah, same kind of, it was cool. Like, yeah, they had like the seats on the ship were on a gyro gimbal thing, which is fun.
Yeah.
So that they could like make weird turns and stuff and still
be sitting straight. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess that makes sense too, because it was also really neat to me that like in Interstellar they had the docking to like the shuttles, right? And that was also spinning.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was, or maybe that part wasn't spinning, but it was still like extended out. Like it wasn't at the main frame.
It wasn't supposed to be spinning when in the docking sequence. That was,
well, it wasn't supposed to be spinning. Yeah. But like it was still, they were still on pylons, like away from the bulk of the ship.
They were in the center. Yeah. They were in the center of the ship. Yeah.
Yeah. They had a good, like they had to like go through like a little tunnel area, and then like they had to like a little, kind of like the International Space Station. You've got like locking tunnels between different compartments.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, like the International Space Station. This is really dangerous. The International Space Station. Yay! Yeah, this is, it's cool because you can see real space.
How expensive was that? Lego's so expensive now. Oh, he doesn't even have his headphones on. Yeah, for the podcast audience, he's pulled out his Lego ISS. How expensive was that? Lego? Did you see the new Pokemon prices?
No, I didn't.
First off, Lego has the Pokemon IP now instead of Mega Bloks. They came out with 3 sets. There's an Eevee for $80. There's a Pikachu for $200.
Oh my god!
And there's the Kanto trio of Venusaur, Blastoise, and Charizard for $650.
I mean, it is a big
because
set.
Lego.
Because
Lego only does stuff for adults now, and even that, like the high tax bracket adults.
This Eevee says it's $60. That's not
okay. Yeah, I mean, 60, 80. Either way, the EV's
that's
like
that's still like $10. That's still $10 per 100 bricks, which is crazy.
Well, that's actually just about the right ratio for it. It's just about a dime a nickel.
Well,
brick.
in that case, the Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise set is underpriced.
Well,
this is 6,800
So the thing is, basically, it's if you guys know programming at all, there's this concept called optimization, where basically you take like you want to try to pan down the code a little bit. Pan, is that even a right word? That you want, like, the reason video games take like 100 gigabytes of storage is because a lot of studios they're
not optimized.
They don't see the importance of pairing. That's the word.
Paring
down, trying to compress code and compress file sizes. to make things better for the consumer. So Lego apparently has had this kind of creeping problem recently of being way too generous with the amount of bricks they use in a set. Like the designers have
that makes sense.
the sets, which means if you have the sets, they're cooler, they're higher quality because they're much more detailed.
And they're like more stable.
Yeah, but it's like
it like creeps up. It's like the Lego equivalent of power creep, but it's just price creep.
Yeah,
it's just they're just like
it's like designers are being less and less mindful about like paring down the amount of bricks they have in a build because they just want all the details, and that balloons into a $650 Pokemon set that kids and mid to lower class adults are never gonna afford.
Are never gonna buy.
Yeah.
I will say though, this Eevee set looks really cute. The Eevee set looks cute, and it's kind of reasonable. It's pretty reasonable. Anyways, yeah. What was the Lego ISS set price? I forget. It's like $180 set. It's really not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Like for that size of set, I forget how many pieces it is. 864 pieces. That doesn't feel right.
So that's that should be like an $80 set then.
They are also, there's a lot of like weird big pieces though because of like the solar sails and stuff. Like it's a thin set, but it's a big set. So like I wouldn't be surprised if that's like a weird volume. And they also have like some custom pieces for it as well, I think.
Lego Ideas International Space Station was like 188. Yeah. That feels
180.
Well, I don't even know how recent it is too, so it might just be
it might be a higher price because it's like although it doesn't look like it is because it's just saying add cart from I don't know
what the MSRP is.
Nephilia's Museum of Nature and Science.
Godzilla just got the Godzilla Lego Ideas apparently just got greenlit.
Really?
Yeah, Godzilla just got greenlit.
That's crazy news. Is it this oh yeah, it just hit 10K supporters. Or it's hit it a while ago.
That was like a year ago, yeah.
Ooh.
They based on the
someone actually
like the monster.
Someone actually
ones,
built it to like prove the point. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well that's how Lego Ideas work. Oh, am I out of space or is that the battery?
Oh,
card full. Oh, we need to finish up then.
Okay. We do. Yeah, this has been a long one anyways.
That's how Lego Ideas work. They build the set first as a what is it? Proof of concept.
Yeah. That makes sense. Well, are they going to be able to see you at all?
The battery's so low right now too. Like it's almost down.
Well, okay, guys. End of podcast episode. It was a good one.
That's the end of our discussion.
We talked about a lot of nerd
Interstellar.
stuff. A lot of really nerdy stuff, but we promise we're not that science-based all the time. If you're new, we promise we don't talk about wormholes every single episode.
I mean, that was going over my head most of the time. Well, okay, now soon. I now have about a dozen Godzilla movies in my collection, and we were talking about doing a Godzilla binge and going through some of the highlights of the series. So I think we're at the point where we can start doing that because I've got Godzilla 54, I've got Shin, I got -1, I've got all the ones I want to watch physical. So all except
do you have like
an
order that you want to watch them in?
I'm still deciding on like a 60s movie, which I don't have because I don't have the show off collection. Most of those movies don't interest me. We'll be watching one of them for historical context more than enjoyment for me. They're like the cheesy 70s ones.
Gotcha.
But
cool.
But all the other ones I do have physically. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So yeah, we'll be talking probably like a 3 or 4 part podcast series about Godzilla.
Probably, yeah.
Because there's like 7 or 8 I want to watch. So. But in return, I also have Walmart Plus now, which came with Paramount, which means I have Star Trek. I just have like the whole Star Trek collection on streaming, so we can do some. I know we talked about you doing some Star Trek highlights with me, so
yeah,
we'll be doing some more film reviews soon. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.